Hey there! So, did you say your thank yous? Did you do your barefoot meditation walk thing? Alright, first off, the brain is a slippery object, and when you go to sleep, think about dreaming. Do you make that stuff up? Where does it come from? It comes from somewhere. And I read this great book called The Big Leap. And among many other awesome topics, this book talks about self-sabotage. That there's a part of your brain that it monitors like this switch. And it makes sure that you don't take too many risks, because risks are dangerous. The problem is, good things happening to you also are dangerous. That part of your mind, and I'm no expert at this, by the way, he read some books. So, value appropriately. There's a part of your mind that views even a good thing happening as something risky and attempts to prevent it. So an enjoyable experience can actually be interpreted as dangerous. And your mind may decide to punish you in advance to prevent you from doing it, or punish you afterwards. And in the book, it gives the example of a guy who gets migraines because of it. And I suggest to you that the suffering stops when you can figure that out, at least part of the suffering. And that's what's happened with me, where once I acknowledge it, it sort of goes away, like this phantasm in the light of day. Let me give you some examples from my own life. I really enjoyed ballroom dancing in 2018. And I was really excited for this very low-level competition. It was going to be it was like this, almost like this party out, you do the dance competition. Yes, I've danced ballroom dance competitively, technically, at the very lowest level. Like, they almost had to invent a level low enough for me to be in it. They were like, usually you got to do this for 2 or 3 years before you go. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to put in the hours. I'm going to learn this. And I did. I did waltz, cha-cha, and rumba, American style. Anyway, and I just had, the night before, I was up all night with this terrible toothache. It was just agony. I was like, what's going on? So finally, the day after the competition, and it went away afterwards, I got into the dentist, and he was like, Sean, there's nothing wrong with your teeth. It's in your head. And I'm like, well, can you drill anyway? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll just drill away on them. No, I'm joking. He didn't just drill for the sake of it. He was like, your teeth are fine. And I give you many, many, many more examples. Wonderful examples of self-sabotage. My whole life is one giant round of lost opportunities and self-sabotage where I'm like, ew, I kind of roasted myself on that one. Anyway, so that's something to consider. My point is that as you're doing these exercises, sometimes if you take it too seriously, like, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this so good, that ends up tripping you up. So take a very light approach to all this. Take it very easy on yourself. Don't think you have to say your 100 thank yous in some amazing way, or that conditions have to be just right. Just gently go and do it. And you've got to ease into this, because the brain is like any other organ. If you've been thinking lazily, letting your brain just run amok with worrying, grief, reenacting old grievances, old injuries, and after 10 years, your brain, just like any other muscle, it's used to doing that. It's like old leather. Feeling bad starts feeling comfortable. And so just take it very easy. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't be hard on yourself. Be easy on yourself. Be super easy. And the thank you exercise, which you're going to do every day you're going to do something for your positivity, is wonderful because it's so easy and it immediately gets you occupied with something else. And what'll happen is eventually, like if you keep doing it, you'll actually start to think of things to be thankful for. It'll just sort of automatically happen. You're saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And your brain will be like, oh, I want to play too. And it'll start thinking of things why. You don't have to. That's not part of the exercise. But it is a nice side effect. And the whole point of this is to change your mind. Change the way that you're thinking. Change your habits of thinking. I never worked out. And if you go and look at my old videos and you see like my body, you'll be like, ew, that guy's out of shape. I never worked out. I ate a half gallon of ice cream and a steak for dinner. And never worked. And then I wondered why I was like all sore all the time. Like I've kind of my bone bag was like bent out of shape. Yeah, Sean, because you didn't lift weights. You didn't do anything. Oh, and it's just dumbbells, but I have this great dumbbell routine. It's over 400 reps when I do the full thing, which I have. My goal was to do the 400 reps with 30 pounders, which I only did one time. And that was that. I had to work up to that. And that was during the ballroom dance thing, because I had to lift my partner. And let me tell you, lifting a woman who's like spinning into you, and it's because it could be at any angle, and her body isn't like, it's not like a barbell. She's moving around too, so there's like all sorts of ways you can just pull stuff when you're doing ballroom dance and lifting. She was like, let's do lifts today. I'm like, you don't understand how hard this is. Like I've worked my way up to, it was like 4 months of weight training to get to the point where I could just be like, pow, and like get her up there and spin her back out. Anyway, back to positivity exercises, or at the very least, getting your mind onto something else. Your new exercise is going to be called acid trip. Oh yeah, you're going to love this one. It's also very easy. Again, like all of these, don't tell other people you're doing it. They're just going to put their opinions in. Don't put it on social media. That's even worse. By the way, I'm disabling the comments on these videos now. No offense. If you want to ask me something or tell me how great it is, send me an email. So in acid trip, you just move, first off, you move at about 10 to 20% of your normal rate, again, by yourself, and just start touching things. Wow. You can talk while you're doing it, but you don't have to. Just start observing things like, oh wow, and like touch the wood on the wall and make it fun. Like, this is so amazing. This carpet, I've never noticed this carpet. This pin clicks in and out. That's amazing. And do that for about, I'm going to say 1 to 5 minutes. And as you're moving, go really slow. Slow motion and move across the room, 1 foot slowly in front of the other. And feel the bottoms of your feet and your clothing against your skin. And become aware of what's going on. And again, the voice part can be fun as well. All right. Thank yous times 100. Hold on. What was the second one? It was the barefoot distraction meditation. And then now the acid trip. And it's really a good one. And it makes you immediately think about it. It just shifts your brain up. And I'm telling you, if you can get, and this is one of the things we're working up to, if you can get to the point where you can actually be conscious, yet shut your brain off completely, which by the way is really weird, to not think about anything, even the passage of time. Like you'll have to look around and just go, wait a second, that must have been, 2 minutes or whatever? And it will change the structure of your brain and how you're thinking. Because your mind is a runaway machine that's chatterboxing. The chatterbox is constantly bombarding you, and you start to think that's you. And it's not. It's something else. You're the thing that's observing those thoughts. All right, off I go.